Welcome to the Tuesday, June 25th, 2024 meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. We have a brief introductory announcement I need to make. This meeting hearing of the Ayer Planning Board will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom meeting ID number 833-6548-0732 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Danny Ruiz, Town Planner, at druiz@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 144 prior to the meeting. Welcome. First item is to approve the agenda. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to reflect the correct meeting minutes that we're going to approve. We approved the May 28th meetings at the last meeting. This meeting, I want to amend the agenda so that we're approving the June 11th, 2024 meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Do we have to do the individual vote for the amendment? Yeah. Is this, can we combine it for the approving the agenda, or do we have to do a separate for the amendment and then the approval?
I would do it separately. Okay. Just to keep it.
For the amendment, how do you vote?
Yes.
Aye. Nathan? Jeff?
Yes.
And chair votes aye.
And Kathleen?
And, Kathleen can vote?
Yeah.
On the amendment?
Yep.
Oh, okay, great.
'Cause
And Kathleen, I'm very sorry. How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. And to approve the agenda as amended, how do you vote?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Nate?
Aye.
Jeff?
Yes. Aye.
Chair votes aye. We have a presentation from DPW. Wow.
Okay, good evening.
Hey, Dan.
Mr. Chair, how you doing? Oh, thanks, yeah, I'll drive this little bus here.
I feel like I have
I'm Dan Van Skelwick, I don't think we've met before, I'm the DPW director.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you
Kathleen.
too. All right, great. Yeah, so tonight, so recently, as of, what's today, Tuesday? Yesterday, we entered into a outdoor water ban, and obviously it's not due to any drought conditions. So in simple, what it's due to is our treatment plant capacity. So I'll kind of explain a little bit about our situation now. Is there a way to, do I have to hit ESC or something? Yeah, there we go. Do you mind if I grab the keyboard?
Yeah, no, here.
All right, thanks. So first thing, I gotta share the screen, right?
Yeah.
So is anyone at home?
No one's on
Not right now? All right. So, right on the town website, we put together a notice, and there's an education involved with it. So new outdoor water conservation measures begin today. That was yesterday. So we click read more. For more information, please click here. Here's information about what the outdoor water ban entails: watering by handheld hose only, watering can only, all other outdoor watering prohibited. But down on the bottom of this first paragraph, we have even more information. This is where the education component is. So scrolling down, so there's two things we have. We have our water supply capacity and our treatment plant capacity. And the one that's a problem right now is our treatment plant capacity. And what the problem is it's due to the PFAS treatment system that was installed and started operating in late 2020. So before we had the PFAS treatment, our water supply wells could pump through our green sand pressure vessels, remove the iron and manganese, pump into our distribution system up to our tanks, and we could pump 1.5 million gallons a day, even more depending on the condition of the wells. So now, on a max day with our PFAS treatment system, our water supply pumps through the green sand, then it goes through our PFAS treatment system, and this is causing a restriction. So we can't push the water any harder. The vessels will get overpressurized and the pressure relief will go off. So we can only pump, and this is a really good day, about 780,000 gallons on a day. That's when the vessels are in the best condition and everything's working well.
780,000 gallons.
What's that?
780,000 gallons.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's basically about cut in half our max pumping ability from the Grove Pond water treatment plant. So that's really what's been driving the last couple of years where we've had these issues with the outdoor water bans. So another way,
Does that mean 49% of one filtrate, one?
no, it's talking about the total flow coming out of the plant. So we used to be able to do about 1.5 million gallons on a maximum pump. Now we can only do about half of that.
All of Ayer?
No, so we have two plants. We have a spec pond water treatment plant as well, which that's not having an issue.
Is that 1.5 million gallons per day?
It's at least that. Yeah, so that one's doing the work right
So
now.
we're down a quarter.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So looking at this graph here, I can't really zoom in, but basically what it's showing is since 2015, how much we've pumped from the Grove Pond treatment plant. PFAS treatment went in right here, and you can see our pumping has significantly dropped. There's a few blips here, and that's due to when we were working through the initial phases of PFAS. We had to shut down well 8 and operate different wells. But we used to pump on, we could even pump some days up to almost 2 million gallons. So, those would be your summer days when you get your highest demand. That's when you get your max day demand. Everyone's using water. So right now, this is what's going on at Grove Pond. So there is a solution. And what it is, it's a clear well storage tank. So essentially, you can even forget the word clear well. It's a storage tank that's in between, that's just downstream of the treatment plant. So you got your distribution system all through the town up to the tanks, and you have your treatment plant. So in between the treatment plant and when you enter that distribution system, that's where this storage tank will go. And what that does, it removes the head, this is talking engineer, the head coming from the distribution system. There's pressure from the distribution system that you have to pump against. So if you have to pump through the treatment system, through the PFAS treatment, and pump through the distribution system to get the water all the way up to the storage tanks. So this will eliminate the distribution system pressure. And by doing that, and we've actually done a test out there because we've pumped to a hydrant, it brings us back to capacity. And it's not uncommon. There's a lot of facilities that have these clear well storage tanks. Yeah. So the schedule on this is it's currently in design. We just went through our design basis report, and the project construction's anticipated for next year. We're aiming to get it out early next year and then get this tank in and try to have a good summer next year. And
So by the summer, you're thinking?
And be able to pump, it will be able to pump like we were before the PFAS treatment was in place. So that's, in short, what's going on. I can show a little bit of some numbers if you want as well, but that's really what's happening. So it's not a water supply issue. We have approved for, I think, over 2 million gallons a day from the Grove Pond supply. We just can't pump that much because of the PFAS treatment system reducing our capacity. So when we get our max days, we're not able to keep up. And when I first started, it was in 2014, and 2014, 15, 16, 17, we used to have a lead plant and a lag plant because they would get a lot of rest. So right now, both plants run almost all the time to try to keep us up pretty much all the time in the summer especially. The spec pond plant has really picked up a lot of slack. We increased the well sizes out there as part of the PFAS treatment project there too. So it was a good thing we did that, and former director Wetzel did.
So now that you don't have lead lag and they're both operating, I guess that accelerates the maintenance schedule on the two plants, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so we did have, was it last year? I think it was last year, we had a motor go on one of the wells, but luckily it wasn't at a critical time. We had water in our tanks. So we do have emergency interconnections. It's actually spelled out in here too. What are we doing? We have emergency interconnections with Devons and Littleton. So when if we get in a bind, they can supplement us with water. We've been working with the big users, CPF, Nasoya, and they've actually worked with us and stopped production at times. It hasn't been very often. It's only been a couple times, but our tank levels get so low, it becomes a public safety issue. If a fire happened, you need to make sure you have enough water storage in your system. So, so questions or?
Observation, I'm glad that we're getting a tank in. I'm glad it's going to supplement the amount of water we have. And we as a town still need to work on reduction use of water.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a, let's go water everything in town anymore. Let's still be conscious of water being a resource, a scarce resource.
And I could add too that, you know, because we wouldn't have this issue if we didn't have the PFAS problem and the PFAS treatment. The Army is working and paying currently for the design, and we don't have it on writing, but we anticipate them to pay for the construction as well of this clear well. So, so that's
How large is the storage tank going to be?
I think it's still in the early phase of design, but I think it was 150,000 gallons. So it's based on it's actually the size is based on the amount of chlorine contact time that's going to be needed for the tank.
So if we're pumping 70,000 gallons a day, it's about a quarter of that roughly.
Yeah. Yeah, so that will.
It's not building it's not building in a lot of backup.
No. Yeah, it's more. It's not so much for
pressure.
storage. It's more for alleviating
Equalizing
the pressure,
Yeah.
meet the chlorine contact time, and it will give us a good source because every few days we have to backwash our filters, our green sand filters, with the iron and manganese that gets clogged up in them. So that'll actually give us a good source of finished water to do that.
Got it.
In relatively quick order. So, yeah, that's in short what's going on. But I think if you get questions, Kimberly did a good job putting together this web page here, which really describes exactly what's going on.
And just for clarification, this will not have effect on future developments, correct?
Right, so that's where you get, so I brought it, the water system master plan. So this is required by DEP. It's also, if it wasn't, I would still have it. But basically in there, we calculate, our current water supply, our water supply needs, which are based on population, known development, and trends to the future. And so you calculate that and you look ahead to the future and you say, when do we, how's our water supply, is it going to meet that? You look at your water supply capacity and your treatment capacity. And so in the water master plan, it is actually around 2035 to 2040, we start reaching that max day pumping. That's why I had, actually, why don't I show you guys it? So this is right from the master plan. How do you zoom in? There we go.
Hey, Dan?
Yeah.
So does this, I very much appreciate the presentation and being alerted to what's going on, but do you need any action from the planning board, or is this more a way to inform the public through a public meeting?
I think it's a good way to inform the public and inform
Fantastic.
the board, because you'll be getting,
Questions.
Stratton Hills and people who are going to want water and want, and so to be able to know that we do have it, but the problem right now really is the treatment plant. Right. So this is straight from the master plan, but as you get to 2035, our max supply capacity with our current supply from Grove, the 3 wells at Grove and 2 at Spec start hitting that max supply. So we're actually currently looking at potentially a new well at Spec Pond. It's probably, if it works out, we're doing a pump test this year. It'll probably be another 3 or 4 years before that even becomes added to the source. But obviously that would boost us our max supply capacity would go even higher. Mm-hmm. I should note this max supply capacity, 3.76 million gallons a day. It's with this is with our best water supply well offline. So if we had all of our wells online, it's actually closer to 5 million gallons a day that we can pump. But you want to look at it conservatively if you had an issue. So this is all in the master plan, and that's what we kind of use as our guidebook, obviously, to, here's your future capital plans, what you need to do to get more supply, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah.
Any further questions, board?
Yeah, cool.
Hearing none. Dan, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate it. You've had a busy week.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Stop share. Okay, you want Danny? Thanks.
So next item on our agenda is Stratton Hill, and we have received a letter from Bob Collins, the attorney representing the applicant and they've asked us to continue the hearing to August 27th. And the letter also extends the time for the decision until September 13th, 2024. So we do have that covered.
Yes, this has been stamped in with the town clerk and posted on the board as is required.
So I think all we need is we need a continuance?
Yep, the motion for continuance.
Read it into the record or not?
I think we don't have to, right?
You don't have to. It's
in the
put
record.
into the record already, as it's been stamped in by the town clerk.
Move to, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, move to reschedule the off-right road, Stratton Hill, map 6, process 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 11 through 55, definitive subdivision, open space residential development plan to August
27th.
27th, 2024.
Excellent. Wonderful. Can Kathleen vote on this one?
She doesn't need to now that Ken's here.
Got it. Okay, great. So, Ken, how do you vote?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Yes.
Chair votes aye, it's unanimous. We'll see the continuance until August 27th. The next item is, this is of course continue, we already opened the public hearing. Continue the public hearing for 91 Groton Harvard Road. If you want to come up, gentlemen.
It is cold in this room.
This is,
It is.
Danny, can you take the lead on this and where we are and what we need to do tonight?
All right, so on June 6th, we had a site visit, site walk. We walked around the site. After that, the applicant submitted additional revised information addressing the comments from review from DPW, myself, and Conservation. They did adequately address all of those comments. There's a couple of things that came up during the site visit that we'll want to discuss today. Let me just make sure if there was other information. And then I think also today we can also discuss waivers. Now that we've gotten really a hang of stormwater, and I feel like we're in a better position now.
Okay. So where do you want to start, with the open issues or?
Yeah, why don't we, I can let me just pull up the new site plan and I can just let them kind of just go through the revisions, the big ones.
Yeah. If it's all right with the board, I'd like to kind of just walk through all the different changes.
Absolutely. Yeah, please.
Actually, one thing, just share the screen. Can you
Oh, sure. Back to here. Yeah. And it's this one here. Share. Ready? Okay, so I'll start. Let's see here. I guess I'll start with this sheet right here. This is the site layout plan and site layout and utility plan, C4.1. So the first thing that we changed was we included the snow storage area you see in the zigzag hatch pattern at this location here.
And over here, right?
Over here, a little bit over here, a little bit over here, as well as a little bit over here, just to satisfy the comment.
What's the date of that?
The date on that is drawing I just opened is doesn't. Am I looking at the wrong sheet? We're 3.1.
Yeah, this is
4.1.
4.1. Oh yeah, you're looking at the construction one on the next page.
Thank you. So speaking of the snow storage area, taking up the space over here, you can see that we had pulled back the parking area, so that is now lining up with the front face of the building. The building itself has been modified slightly to include this, bump out for the entryway. Makes sense, you don't want to be wet standing there. So that all lines up. As part of the conversation about landscaping, we have included a little landscaping area in lieu of extending the hedgerow at the front, at the entry, so that we have a location for the proposed sign, which will, reach out to Charlie once they're ready to put in a sign permit, and there'll be landscaping surrounding that area.
Do you want comments along the way, or would you prefer that we wait until you go through your presentation?
I don't mind comments along the way. We can hope to address them.
I have a question about this snow storage space right here.
I had the same question.
Because if I understand correctly, this is the proposed Jersey barrier to prevent debris from being pushed down the slope as it had been in the past. And in fact, I think one of the things we want to condition is no movement of material down the slope. But this snow storage seems to contradict that, especially since we know what snow storage is a plow pushes snow into the space, which means it's very likely that they'll spill over down below. Is that a crazy thing, or
So I agree that, pushing that area is we're kind of getting adjacent to the conservation area. So it's a little bit difficult with that. And I know that's something that Heather is definitely has some concerns about, as well as in that area. That's the exact area where the big pile of invasives and the mulch is.
Yeah, the mulch pit.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You got it.
So I guess the idea behind this snow storage area is that, we want to show a little bit of a strip so that it has an area, we are peeling back the pavement a little bit, or the gravel limit. So, the idea is that there's going to be slight ridge on the back end of the snow storage here, once you peel back the gravel, so that you have a little bit of an area that's a little bit higher. Put the snow there, it has time to melt, and then it gets into the catch basin area.
Roll backwards.
I didn't want to show too big of an area.
That's fine. Okay, I just wanted to check it out.
Yeah, excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
And I'm going to assume that snow storage is for the entranceway only.
Right.
That's just so the plow can roll it off the side as he comes onto the property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I
and,
get it.
and asking him to plow it all the way back
I
on
get
a
it.
non-paved surface is going to come with its own issues,
okay.
moving the whole surface back. Just
Okay.
my 30 some odd years of doing snow work.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not.
just
I've
gonna,
never
that's open
moved-
up the entranceway and keep it open type stuff.
And that's also paved portion, proposed portion to be paved, so you're really not gonna be bringing that much.
So it's not about pushing it, the space that you have over here
Yeah.
is a place, if you can shrink that, right, this is where you can push stuff
Yeah.
to, okay.
That's where you'd stack.
All right.
Yeah, that's where you put it in the bucket and
Got
bring it
it.
around, or a truck. The other thing is, you mentioned the invasives, and the invasives are all on the slope.
Yeah.
They're not on the level, they're on that slope.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the invasive now? Just
Keep going.
Okay. There is, we have extended the concrete pad in the back to include an area just for the dumpster. I gave them a relatively big footprint just because, they do have a couple back there, just to make sure they have enough room for it.
They'll likely have one for recycling and one for domestic waste as well, so.
As part of the staff review comments, that asked for specs for the exterior lights, which we have provided, and we also included a note just to say that the exterior lights shall be dark sky compliant, just to make sure that we're not pointing outward, that's all. Obviously, the biggest thing we want to talk about here is the berm and Jersey barrier, which is shown here. You'll notice that the hatching is a little bit different, and it ends right here. And the extra line type that's in front of the other one is for the mulch. And the idea is that from this point on, because we have the slope pitching towards the catch basin right here, is that we shouldn't require to put in the extra berm against the Jersey barrier, because at that point all the water is pitching towards the catch basin, and we're only providing the Jersey barrier just as a barrier, as opposed to a way to try to slow down water. So that barrier is being carried all the way up to the top of the site there. And I think that does it for this sheet. I'll quickly jump over to the next one. Sheet C 5.1. This is let me just zoom out a little bit. There we go. So I think the biggest thing that we really want to talk about is this area, redevelopment area that we had discussed before. Trying to make an effort to catch this portion of land as well as getting it to a treatment. What we have done is we have extended out the chambers one row, as well as pushing it an additional row to kind of accommodate for the footing required for this landscaping wall. We had gone back and spoke with the applicant, basically asking them, what would you like to do? We do have the option of doing like a, CMU block, which doesn't really have a footing. It goes down for like a foot and it has a leveling pad at the bottom. But they kind of opt for the option of doing like a frost wall and pour at the same time as the building. Therefore, we had to move the chambers around to try to accommodate that. So this ended up being the result of that change, as well as the effort to kind of provide more chambers for the area captured, and then to treat more water. So it went kind of a twofer effort. The proposed catch basin located here, as you can see, we're trying to get all the water to come down. There's going to be a high point here that pushes the water back. And this catch basin, because it is located in a gravel area, where it's going to be fitted with a permanent silk sack that has, obviously a monthly operation and maintenance, make sure they clean it out. Because obviously gravel area is going to get a lot more sediment buildup. So we want to include that before it, takes the water to a manhole, where this will be the primary location for cleaning out the chambers.
So Lynn, I have a question about the silt bag. Is that a task that an employee of the company can be trained to do, or are they going to have a third-party vendor come in every month? I mean, how does that work?
It should be the companies, the employees of the company.
And they have the tools necessary or the equipment that can do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
It's easy?
It's a matter of lifting the grate, and the sack has bars in it, and so you then lift the sack, you take it, dump the sediment out,
Right.
clean it, put it back in.
Right, I mean, I suspect it works, so it just has to be done. That's
100%.
Okay.
If it doesn't, they're gonna have a puddle in their yard.
Or frozen.
Or frozen, which is
frozen.
worse. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, good.
So it's for their own benefit. So with the change to the grading, as well as the additional chambers, we're trying to capture as much as we can, taking in this portion here. I know there was a comment about the planting within the focal point. So we had actually reached out to the manufacturer just to say that, what do you guys think? More or less they're of the kind of the opinion that they don't really care too much one way or the other. They do supply the plant if we ask them, but they're also kind of, if you want to pick a plant from the Mass Stormwater Handbook, they don't have a problem with it. So, which we did. So we have updated the plant list to kind of show like a few species that they can choose from. Not a big deal. And I want to talk about this outlet here. So we did talk about peeling it back a little bit. I think we pulled it back about 6 to 7 feet, I want to say. And obviously the grading for that has to be adjusted accordingly. But we also made sure to extend out that riprap pad to make sure that, it gets to the end of the flat spot, so that it has time to spread out and is a bigger pad, so that, hopefully no erosion occur. Let's see.
Well, can you go back to that for a second?
Sure.
So one of the things I wonder about is just, are you at all concerned about erosion at this edge where it meets the slope? Do you feel like that the substrate is firm enough that's going to hold, the riprap is going to hold in place and function, or?
I mean, the riprap is sized for a typical 12-inch pipe.
Okay.
That's what it was designed to. And, there are big boulders. It's not just like one uniform stone. There are big boulders being proposed so that we can stack them right at the entrance, spread them around to make sure that the water gets slowed down.
So they diffuse the flow of the water in amongst the stone.
And, with the amount of chambers that we're providing, unless you're looking at like a 25-year storm or bigger, I don't, you're not going to see too much flow coming out of that.
Right, because that's just the overflow that you anticipate.
Right.
Okay. That's,
I think those are...
yeah, so most of the time it's just going to be dry. I mean, just,
I mean, the site itself, we designed it to, based on the fact that the gravel was counting as impervious, but obviously there is going to be some infiltration happening over the gravel surface. want to just point out, we also included, so the detail for the mulch and stone, Jersey barrier, as well as, a landscaping plan. We have taken consideration from Danny's comment about the shrub planting in front of the building, as well as provided additional planting for the sign location here as well as the truck turning movement as requested.
Up in the upper left, you can see the boulder placement type ideas. Again, diffusing. You have your riprap, and then you have the larger boulders, so as the flow comes out, it gets forced around the boulders. Kind of creates some diffusion.
I know for a fact that this detail calls for a certain length based on the pipe, but I think we did add additional note just to make sure that it is being extended all the way out rather than whatever length is being specified. Let's see here. Just want to keep going down to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, and this one is a comment that was made by Matt, town engineer, during the staff review meeting. Basically, what Matt was looking for is a pocket of settlement area for the capture structure. So as it's come in from the top, it hits this grade right here, and it comes out the side of the outlet. And the area between this outlet grade to where the planting is, you have about anywhere between 6 or 7 feet. So there's going to be a micro grading happening in this little pocket.
So I couldn't hear you, Michael.
Micro grading to provide like a small little divot as a depression, as a point to kind of capture sediment and act as an area for additional sediment cleaning, basically.
It'll treat as almost like a forebay. Everything will settle in there and then the water will go through.
Hopefully it doesn't see anything because obviously you already have like this top grade and side.
Right.
And I'll be happy to mention, because Mr. Diskin asked for this the previous meeting about the roof drain. We have shown the roof drain connection. So you can see the breakdown of capturing over here, carrying that over, getting into this manhole over here, as well as another section on the back end. So we're capturing the entirety of the roof. And I think that's the bulk of the item that I want to bring up. Happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead, Ken.
Go ahead. I can go after.
Okay, so to summarize, there's really only 2 catch basins on the job. And then that little proposed rain guardian turret.
Yes.
So my concern is with the catch basin at the very entrance to I guess it's the south entrance. And the fact that the Cape Cod berm on that side of the project goes all the way up to the proposed, what are Jersey barriers. But on the other side of the project, it terminates, so it looks like the water is going to shed across the lawn or over the top of that septic system rather than run, I don't know, you're kind of asking it to run completely across the driveway. Typically, there would be a pair, is what I'm getting at, as you would normally do with the entrance. You'd have one on either side.
Excepting that typically, in many of those, in the cases where you have them on either side, you have more of a crown grading,
Right.
Ken, and this is a super elevated or a cross pitch grade because
So it's
that's the
super-
way the ground goes right now, and that's the way the grade would continue to go.
So it's super elevated from the north
From the
to
building
south.
to the curb.
Yeah, so it
That's
goes
my concern, is it's
311, 310, 309.
I'm not sure it'll make it across, is what I'm getting at. I think it's gonna wind down that side and just go out to the street. That's
Oh,
my concern.
you mean following?
Yeah, see the grade starts up by the corner of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it 311,
311, and
11, 10,
it might
8,
just go across.
9, 8?
Yeah.
I'm having a little trouble seeing how it's gonna run across that pavement to the other side, to that catch basin.
So
I think it wants to move.
This was something that I know Matt and myself did raise, but their explanation does make sense.
So at the end of the day, when you go out there, you're gonna see that water go right in that catch basin. Right?
You know?
But this is lower, right? This is 307 versus
Yeah.
308 here, so it is pitched a little bit higher here, right? Does that mean, would that
Yeah,
be
the
helpful?
first section of the road is, the first section of the driveway is gonna pitch towards the road.
Right. So the water coming down here, at least it's good, there is this rise, not very high, but slight up, so,
No, it's the other way around.
It's going the other way, okay.
It goes down 308 to 307.
Here's 309, here's 308, 307.
right,
so
right.
everything
Oh, I
is
see what you're
down.
saying, right.
That's his concern.
But the grade from that southern facade of the building, the contours are typically parallel to the building edge, so the water typically runs perpendicular to the contours.
I think we showed it in our drainage watershed
Yeah.
map.
Yeah.
And, you know, the idea is that from the corner of this catch basin right here, if you're running the line parallel, it should go up to right about here, and then continue up from there.
So you're trying to shoot it straight across, what your arrowhead just did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in a straight line.
In a straight line.
because it is super elevated, and it is higher
I mean,
as you kind of come
I
up.
guess when they do the final course of paving, this would be something that somebody would check, you know, with the
Correct.
final grading, final paving.
Yeah,
Try to make sure we get the water to the catch basin.
yeah. I mean, in the final as-built, they'll have to show that, you know, everything was, you know, graded as properly.
Well, they're gonna show it matches this.
Well, no. So the final as-built will have like final, you know, topo shots showing that, you know, everything what was done out there will, you know, meets what it's supposed to be.
Okay. Now, the other catch basin to the east, I guess, that's taking water all the way from like halfway up the back of the building, right down that slope, right there.
Yep.
And a tiny amount of water that Lynn pointed out from the high point 3086 to the catch basin. Most of the water shedding across the site is right.
Yeah, and this was the biggest concern. This is where I raised about the waiver and addressing the redevelopment portion. And, you know, in my discussions with Lima and Bruce about this, we've talked about it. We feel that they've addressed that concern
By adding-
you know, by adding that catch
That wasn't
basin.
there before.
Correct. Yeah. So
I'm just
now,
clarifying.
yep, exactly.
We're also looking at a semi-permeable surface
Yeah,
here.
you're gonna reuse the
Yeah.
Mills product that's kicking around out there pretty much?
Probably.
Yeah,
And
It's not an asphalt-paved surface, is what I'm saying.
yeah.
And we expanded the
Chambers.
chambers
yeah.
to the extent practical
Yeah.
as well.
No, I'm good, thank you.
I mean, the only things that I would raise is, so on the landscape plan, obviously, so you did give us some plantings, some new plantings and changed them. 4 of them are non-native. Is there any way we could try to get, you know, at least 3 of them to be native?
We can always try. The issue was to come up with plants that were going to be hardy, going to survive well on basically a northern slope, a western facade. You know, you want to have some winter effect. You know, so we got things that have good winter twigs and color to them and good fall foliage to them. You have the arborvitae hedge in front of it, so that screens it. But you can't count on that screening to have like a broadleaf evergreen or a leafy evergreen that will get burned in the winter from the western sun. So it's, you know, it's kind of a juggling match. You know, we're not in a buffer zone. You know, we're a long ways away, so it doesn't necessarily have to. You
No,
know,
and I understand,
no.
it's just something, you know, I've had these discussions with Lima about this. It's something that we're going to be going forward, that, you know, about making sure there's a certain percentage of native versus non-native. So I was just putting it out there to see if there's something, if you guys could possibly do it with that.
We can look at alternatives when time comes around.
And then the invasives along the southern portion of the site, so.
They're actually more on the slope,
Yeah, so, I mean, well, it goes up pretty far. It goes up pretty up to here.
Right, but it
And then
is
the
along the
dumpsters
slope.
are in this area, so, you know, it would be in our preference if that were to be at least on the top of that area cleaned out, remove the invasives along that area?
With the,
So if I may, the invasives that we're talking about are Japanese knotweed. We're not just any invasive. It's not like bittersweet that's really easy. Japanese knotweed is a big problem. We can do all that you want within our property, but there's a whole lot of that Japanese knotweed going down the slope.
no, we understand that.
And as, whatever we do is gonna be diminished if it's not all addressed, the whole area's addressed. Given that it's in an area where there's no proposed grading and no proposed other activity there, I would
You're gonna have the snow storage there.
well, the snow storage is on the flat, not on the slope where the plants are. And my suggestion would be that we look into, where that flat is where all those cars are parked right now.
Oh, is that?
That they parked right there, right up to the edge of the slope.
Okay.
So the plants begin on the slope.
Okay.
So my suggestion would be that there would be a spraying process put into play. And it's a methodology for killing it. It's a multi-year project to kill knotweed via spraying.
Yeah.
And it would be something that the town would have to, be partner on, because the bulk of that knotweed in that area is on town property. And one, we can't spray it on that. Two, it's conservation. Three, it's adjacent to the habitat area. Obviously, the spraying has to be done by a licensed sprayer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have another project where we've had to do the removal because it's into construction, and it was, knotweed that expanded from the side of the road growth that was there and expanded into a pile of, debris that sat, not debris of, put on the site for a period of time.
Okay.
And it just enjoyed growing into that, that edge of that stockpile, that disturbed area. Very, very, very expensive to cut it and have it hauled away to a
I
designated
know it's
site.
not just a 1 year kind of thing, and that's why I'm like, just asking if we can get it. I mean, obviously it's up to you guys, because you guys are the applicant and we can't require that. It's just something to put it on the table.
Yep.
So the debris from the landscape piles, there's quite a bit along this area. There's that big mulch pile, and then there was more debris as you looked like down this way, and as you got into near where their shed was, there's a lot more of that dump debris. I don't know if there's any way to try to clean that up, if they're going to remove that. Is that being used?
That's a question that we'll have to discuss with the client and with their tenant.
Yeah.
I know that there had been stuff that put over there. The tenant put the mulch pile there primarily for the reason that it has been the low spot, and they were trying to stop the runoff from the sediment from the gravel site. The predecessor wasn't doing anything about it, and as a tenant, they saw it happening, and they had the mulch available to them, so they put it down there. It's done a great job of stopping that.
So it's gonna remain.
So I think that the mulch should remain. I think that the pile doesn't need to be a pile, taken down to the grade of everything around it.
Okay.
We're gonna be addressing the runoff in our stormwater management for the area. It's clear that they had some debris that has fallen over the top of that. I think some of that excess mulch should be spread over the top of that, so that, we have, a mulch issue to look at rather than, in a non-foliage time of the year, rather than a scarred earth.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see the same thing happen in the back, as I mentioned when we were on the site, where the crane went over the edge. There's a couple ruts. I want to see that graded off and excess mulch put down over those areas. The ground itself is stable. When we walked around the bottom, there was no sediment piles anywhere. There was nothing down there that you could see that things were coming down. It's been there for a long time. And the ground didn't sink to cause the machine to roll over the edge.
It's just-
It was either vandaled or it was left out of gear, we don't know what the issue was, but.
And then I think the other comment was the screening that when you raised that.
So you know the gap, so if you can imagine the site, you're looking toward the transfer station. Look, we can't impose it, but I think it would be wise and beneficial to everyone involved to complete the screen so that your applicant has privacy and it's not, the applicant's property isn't visible to the people who are using the transfer station.
And I guess my question is, what is we're gonna have a nice building, nicely stored stuff, cubbies. What is the issue of them seeing from a transfer station, seeing a commercial property next door, which has been there for years,
Yeah, I know, I
much
get that.
cleaner than it has been?
I mean, right now, we're looking at a bunch of racks, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And also, sometimes businesses, they don't want everyone seeing their business. I mean, it's just like that, you know? I mean, do you understand what I'm saying?
If
Sometimes
they
you don't
wish to-
want that.
If they wish to do screening there, I can definitely, we'll be
Something to
doing
think
for them.
about.
Yep.
You know?
Okay.
Certainly
That's
relay
what
the
I-
message, yeah.
Okay.
Though I quite enjoy the view of the solar panels.
What did they say?
Seriously, I love solar panels. I love the look of them.
I'm sorry, what was that,
I
Ken?
didn't hear what you said, I'm sorry.
Oh, he said they have a great view of the solar panels.
Great view of the solar panels, yeah. Is there any other issue? I think that
Those are the issues. I think we can now discuss the.
do you want to take them in turn, the waivers in turn? If you lead us one through the waivers?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, Nathan, I didn't mean to neglect you. Go ahead.
This is a super thick stormwater management permit. One question, DPW, have they?
Yep, they reviewed it and they reviewed the revised version and they had no comments. They really didn't have a lot of comments on the initial stormwater report anyways. Most of the comments that came out of that were really addressing the redevelopment portion as well as how the stormwater was going to be handled along the edge of the site. And with the mulch berm, with the stone and the Jersey barriers, DPW feels that that's going to be adequate for the site.
Great.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, with the expansion of the chambers, obviously the runoff rates that we're meeting before, we've improved upon that as well. I just don't have the paper in front of me, but
In summary, everything's moving to the better.
yes.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me, right, Danny?
Yeah.
And DPW, in the meeting you had with the
Yep.
engineering meeting? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So the waivers, where do we start? Which one are we starting with?
Thank you. All right, so our first waiver is. All right, so the first waiver request is for, to provide a detailed landscape plan. This is from section 3.L. So I think they've given us the information that we need for the landscape plan.
Right, we've had the conversations just 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, we had the conversation about, the native versus non-native I raised, but I think at this point we can, it would be my recommendation on to provide a waiver.
How the rest of you feel?
I'm good. Mike, I had a quick question, Dan.
Yes.
Okay, so these are, just to clarify, these are waivers from the site plan regulations.
Yes, yes. So the first couple we're going to go through is for our site plan review requirements from our regulations. These are from that section, and then there will be 2 waivers from our stormwater regulations.
Right, but there's no waivers from anything that has to do with zoning or anything like that.
No. Waivers from zoning always go through ZBA, but yep. Just as a clarification, yes.
Okay, thanks.
So yes, so section 3.L is the first waiver.
Do you recommend that we go discuss them all, or just vote as we go along?
I think go by each one.
And so we can vote, right, you recommend, so if everyone is, if that's amenable to everyone, can I have a motion to waive that? And could you give us the
So it would be a
number?
waiver from section 3.L of our site plan review regulations.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ken, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Julie? Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff? Aye. Chair votes aye, so we'll waive section 3.L of the site plan review section?
Yep.
Okay, good. Next waiver.
The next waiver is from section 5.B, which is to provide a traffic impact statement analysis. I would recommend that we don't. We provide the waiver on this as, you know, there's really not going to be an increase.
Just so the public, why we would do this, because there are no customers coming on site. It's really employees come in, they do their work, and they leave at the end of the day, and none of the tenants has a great number of employees. It's small. Go ahead.
And I just want to add to that, the majority of the employees do not come to the site.
Right.
They have company trucks, they go directly to the job sites.
Right. So at one time, there's only a handful of people there, if that, right? Yeah, that's why I think that's grounds for waiving the traffic plan, because there's no traffic.
And the two tenants that have been there with the former owner are going to continue to be there, and so you know what their traffic is.
Okay.
And we've gone from a trucking industry to basically a warehouse and a
For a concrete
grounds for
form.
storage.
Yeah. Okay, good. How do we frame that? forming?
So this is a waiver from section 5.B of the site plan review regulations.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none? Ken?
Yes.
Yes.
Julie? Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. So that's unanimously passed. Next waiver request.
Right, the next is from section 7B, which is for the photometrics plan. Based on how this, where this site is, what's around it, there's really nothing but woods and the transfer station. There's going to be very minimal lighting on site anyways, because there's no one's going to be here after dark.
And that lighting will be dark sky compliant anyway?
Correct.
Because that's the biggest concern, being next to the conservation area. Is it dark sky compliant? It will be.
Yes.
It's on the plans.
Yep.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I'm assuming it's going to be motion activated in the off hours. Because you need to have lighting to make it safe.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just, you know, we're getting really good at a motion activated light guy in this world. So, okay.
And what's that? I'm sorry.
Move to approve the waiver from section 7B.
7B?
Seconded.
Any further discussion?
I gotta backtrack. Sorry, Dan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's not my error. These site plan regulations, what's the date that we're working with? Maybe I have the wrong thing here. I got July 10th of 2018.
That is correct.
So those sections don't seem to match what I'm looking at here.
This is B.
Did you guys go through these? Is that your numbers on the page here? You put those on there?
Yes. Yep.
3-1, 5B, and so forth?
Yes.
Yeah, 5B. This is. So, let me just.
3 is, like, I've got application procedures for 3. On page 2, I've got,
Outdoor lighting.
section 5 is,
7B. Oh, you know what? I think you're correct, Ken. It might be the.
I think he's talking about subdivision regulations, maybe.
No,
Something different.
No.
The older?
You want to look at this?
Let me just.
That's what I got right there.
Just double check this. Sorry. That's E for the traffic, and that's 5B. What is 5B on that? 3L.
Now, is it different in the zoning bylaw than it is.
Yeah, so maybe it's different.
That's what I'm trying to double check. So the zoning bylaw might have a site plan section
Danny, do you happen to have the site plan review section
of the zoning bylaw.
specifically?
Of the zoning bylaw?
Yeah, I think that is what is being referenced.
I have it.
I have it here.
We got site plan.
3.5.
is 3.5, yep.
But even on 3.5, it doesn't have those. Wondering where that,
Section 9,
yeah, because that's not on there. So I can't get to, how do I move this?
there's no L's and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Site plan's 3.8 or something.
Where is,
Didn't get it from another town, maybe, something like that.
let's see, right here. So here's our section.
You're looking at the site plan regs?
Yeah, I'm looking at the site plan regulations. Let me see if it's on the application. Maybe those are different. Forms. Site plan review. It is. Okay.
That's where they're from.
7D, photometric.
Yeah.
There it is, right there.
It's because it's on the application. The way it's listed is different than what's our, because we have it numbered in there. It's numbered differently than our actual site plan regulations. So the number is technically correct based off our application on how it's set up. That's the waiver, but from the rules and regulations, the numbers are different. So
So the motion we made is no good as well.
well, so we have to amend those, the motion.
I'm gonna make two suggestions.
It's got to
You
match
guys
this.
figure out which one we're gonna amend, we'll amend it
Yes.
correctly. But we need to put the actual sections on this plan.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Going forward.
Yeah, so I'll get that amended.
Just in a paren,
You got it.
section
think you got it right
3.6,
away.
whatever it is. Okay?
If it's that hard to find, then it's
Yeah.
definitely an issue.
Yeah, so the first one, which is for the landscape plan. Just get that exact.
That's why I get the big bucks.
Even that one doesn't.
So outdoor lighting I got right there. It's photometric.
So
That's easy.
3L is number 3.
Landscaping, I got it right here.
Is the last one, so it's number 14.
Yeah.
So it's, here's the actual section, so section 4,
Roman numeral 4?
yep, Roman numeral 4, C, 14.
And so we'll add that in parentheses after the 3L that's there.
To
Yeah.
your plan.
To a plan.
Yeah, to the plan. Yep.
And we need to modify, it. We need,
Yes.
so a motion to modify
Yep.
the previous.
Move to modify the previous
Approval.
waiver approval to include section Roman numeral 4, C 14,
Correct.
Seconded,
from the site plan review regulations.
seconded, any further? Ken?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Catch Ken.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. So that's the landscape.
Okay, so, yeah, we were on the second or third when we caught this. We were
On
on,
the
It's
third.
the first, so we're on the third, so we gotta get the traffic one.
Right, the second one is the traffic one.
Yep, which is section 4,
move to amend, yep.
section 4E.
Move to amend to include section Roman numeral 4E from the site plan regulations.
Seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ken, how do you vote?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Good luck with this one.
So this the third one.
No, we're going slow. It'll be
Third
fine.
one, which is 7B that they're looking for.
7B on the application, which
On the
was section
application.
B.
which is G.
Roman numeral what?
4G.
4, section G. Move to amend the third waiver request to include section 4, Roman numeral 4, section G
Of the site plan
of
regulations.
the site plan regulations. Thank you, Ken.
Seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
We'll get there.
All right.
You should never see.
Appreciate everyone's patience.
Yes.
All right.
The next one is from our zoning bylaw, which is from the parking of 9.1.
Can I
So-
interrupt and just ask? We didn't complete the vote the first time, so did we do that correctly?
Yes, you didn't complete the vote for the photometric plan, so when I type it up, it'll just say that it was amended.
Amended, and we just approved it. Sorry, just making sure I'm keeping
No,
up.
good eye, Julie. Thank you.
So this next one is from 9.1 within our zoning bylaw, which is our parking, our off-street parking. This is 9.1.9A2, and it's about providing bicycle parking for any new development based on the location, the use. I don't think it's a...
The last bicycle
anything.
ever to go to that property has been there.
Exactly. So that's a
you're going back.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Move to approve.
Is there a corresponding section?
No, this one's from our zoning bylaw.
Okay, great.
Move to approve the waiver request for section 919A2.
Seconded.
Of the air zoning bylaws.
Sorry?
Of the air zoning bylaws.
Bylaws. I was actually looking at that to see if I actually read it correctly, because I'm between my glasses tonight.
I just seconded it. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Diskin?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Under duress, aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, good.
All right.
Are we through the waiver?
No, so we have two more.
Two more.
These are from the stormwater, so from our stormwater management requirements. Let's just make sure that that's the correct number.
Yeah, we're going to just double check before we...
Is the stormwater bylaw or
It's,
stormwater regulation?
that's what I have them both right here, so I'm just gonna pull it up real quick.
We have too many rules.
Too many separate binders.
But you know what? Remember what it was like 15 years ago? We argued, are we going under section 4 or section 6? Come on, guys. I prefer this.
Yeah, it's definitely the
You could be
regulation.
before us for the first thing on this section, and the second.
3.
Almost made my head explode when I sat through the first one of those.
Let's see, so it's 3.
They're getting a lot of hours in over there. Your daughter's over at that.
Was under.
Good, good. They said something about not wanting to be home with you guys. I can understand it.
Well, he's looking that up. How'd your ride go?
Trying to see.
That was awesome.
Site, you were
Oh,
leaving to go
you
to
know what
New
I
York.
did? We started in Albany.
Yeah.
So, first night, Germantown, second night, Poughkeepsie, third night, a place called Mohawk. Poughkeepsie to Mohawk is 50.7
Heather?
miles.
While he's looking at this one, could you see if you could find it for the last one?
Well, yeah, like.
In-
Oh, so the last one, that one we do know.
Yeah, you do know?
I
Okay.
don't know where
Back there, they'll-
3%.
Where is
for
3
9
at?
miles. of
Yeah, I
false
think that
silver.
might have been an error.
Beautiful lake at the top.
3L, I think it's supposed to be section C.
It's worth.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, the new development portion.
Redevelopment, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Near the place. I
So
was exhausted.
that is section,
Is it, so it's D?
That last one is the regulation.
Yeah, that's the, yeah, and this one is also the regulation. This one is D, it should be B, right?
2.8D.
Yeah, DB.
Yep.
Yeah,
2.8,
2.8 dB.
yep.
D1B. There's so many sub.
What?
1B.
Of the stormwater regulation?
Yeah, stormwater
We're thinking
regulations.
about actually labeling each word in the regulation next time.
So I just need someone to form a,
Those are the ones the engineer wrote.
I'm
So
not forming
for the public, what this does, this simply is a waiver request so that the stormwater permit application reflects only the redeveloped portions of the site. Is that correct? Go ahead.
Yes.
Which again is reasonable and sensible.
If you made the motion, I'll second it.
I make a motion to, for
Because you're
the
clear on it.
waiver request for stormwater water regulations 2.8D.1.B. Is that correct?
2, let me just make sure. that-
2.8
Yep.
D dot one dot B.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, do I have a second?
Seconded.
I just got it.
Got a second from Julie. Any further discussion? Ken?
Vote yes.
Yes.
Julie?
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff? Jonathan says aye. Okay.
And then the next one is section 2.10B.
Which is right.
Of the stormwater regulations?
Yes, of the
And which one
stormwater.
is this? This is regarding, oh, the easement. Oh,
Yes.
easement's not necessary, this is private property. It's not a subdivision, it's private property. It's unnecessary. Maintenance, O&M is the responsibility of the property owner, so.
Correct.
Move to approve the waiver request, section 2.10.B.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Someone's got to vote nay just to have
Okay,
fun.
so we've gotten through all the waiver requests?
Yes.
Just one more clarification. So on the drawing, you happen to have what you wanted to do in the capitals done right. It says local site plan application waivers. But we actually were doing site plan review.
Yeah, that, and so
He
that's-
used the right
He used the
word.
right word.
We used the right words, we were looking in the wrong place. So what we'll, but we'll go back and we will add, after the
Application
section,
and site plan
we will add the
basis.
section
Regulations.
referencing the
Site plan regulations.
regulations.
And I'll amend the application and get that up
And
tomorrow.
it's to everyone's benefit
Okay, thanks.
to get it correct.
Okay, thank you.
Because 3 years from now, there'll be an argument about it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'm glad to be the guinea pig that points the problem out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what remains here for this, for 91 what remains work to do here?
So I think at this point, they've addressed all of the comments that we've had, unless there's any other outstanding comments that.
I'm going to ask one question, and I believe I saw it in the notes previous to this. NHESP says this is a no-take, no.
No take.
It's a no-take, so no letter is required.
Correct.
For the population who don't understand what I just said, they're not encroaching upon the National Historic,
That's natural heritage.
National Heritage Endangered Species Act, land protected under that act.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. Yes, they provided that as part of the information that we requested.
Very good. That's a good thing to know.
I just want to say, I wanted to say it out loud, so it's done.
Appreciate it. That's
We need
perfect.
that. Need that.
So I think at this point, I can work on getting a decision ready for the next meeting. And unless there's anything else the board wants to discuss.
I'm good.
Do we need to close the public hearing, or can we do it the next meeting before the deliberation?
You can close it now or at the next hearing.
Anything from the public at all?
Oh, but yeah, we do need to do public.
Okay. Go ahead, Nathan.
Is the next step a site plan approval?
I will have a draft site plan approval,
Okay.
but that's up to the board as to what they decide on.
Sure.
We'll draft the decision with the findings. That's what's coming next.
The next step of the process,
Yeah,
yes.
kind of like what we did with 33 3rd Street.
That's why they're smiling.
We came to the next meeting with a draft decision. I'll have it sent over to them to review before the meeting, and they can get me any comments they may
Okay.
have.
And the major changes that we're expecting are?
So they'll update the.
Nature changes.
They'll just
There aren't
update
any
this.
changes. These are a
And
lot of
then there
actually
was
detailed changes.
some-
Excuse me.
There was some requests that
Some
I
requests.
and that's up to them if they end up doing them or not.
Changes.
Yes.
I made note of them, we'll speak with everybody, we'll check it out.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We've come a long way since the first plan.
I prefer to continue it just in case.
Yeah. In case.
In case something comes up, I'd rather, if that's okay, I need a continuance, right?
Yep, move to continue.
Is there anybody here that's,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Open up for
So
comments.
I want to, is there anyone on Zoom?
No, it's
No.
just us.
So
No.
just, so for the room, any questions from the public, any concerns, anything hearing none?
Riveted.
Hearing none.
Riveted out there.
I know, it's just,
Move to continue the 91 Groton Harbor Road, map 13, parcel 8, application, site plan review and major stormwater management plan permit. The applicant being North Atlantic
July 9th.
Concrete to July 9.
Seconded.
I just want to make her type a lot.
any further discussion? Hearing none, Ken?
yes,
Yes.
Julie says aye. Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Yes.
Chair says aye. Thank you, gentlemen, we'll see you at the next meeting.
I'll get you guys that before the meeting so that you guys can review and get comments.
thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
I believe I read the public hearing notice before. I'm going to do a 5-minute recess. I'm going to do a
Thanks.
5-minute recess, and then we'll get We'll get to you. So I have a public hearing notice for the site plan review. The Air Planning Board will be conducting a hybrid public hearing at 6:15 PM on Tuesday, June 25th, 2024, in the first floor meeting room at Air Town Hall, 1 Main Street, to consider the site plan application submitted by AVS Inc. for property located at 77 Fitchburg Road, Ayer. The applicant is proposing to perform light manufacturing within a portion of the existing building. For more information, please contact the Air Planning Office at 978-772-8220, extension 144, or planning@air.ma.us, as advertised June 7th and June 14th in the Neshoba Valley Voice. Come on up. And I think we need to do our opening, right? We need a motion to open the public hearing. I'd like to make a I can do that, right? I'd like to make a motion to open up the public hearing for 77 Fitchburg Road, map 11, parcel 16, applicant AVS Inc. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan? Aye. Jeff?
Yes.
And the chair votes aye. Welcome. If you could identify your name, sir.
Jacob Crash, I'm the CEO of ABS.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And will you take us through this, Danny?
Yes, let me just pull up the site plan. No, that's not what I wanted. All right. So this is a change of use for the site. Currently, the site is a used or a new, it's a car dealership. I'm not sure if it's used or not. And the applicant's going to be taking up about 2,500 square feet of the existing building over here. On this side is the car dealer, and there's in this big area right here is where they keep all the cars parked. So the applicant is a light industrial manufacturing, and I'll let him explain as to what they do over there. So the use is very, they're only going to have a couple of employees there, maybe a box truck coming in and out of the site just to pick up the manufacturing from that building. And there's not really a lot to this application.
Doesn't seem like there's any modifications even to the building.
No,
It's
the
just
only
moving in.
modification that's being proposed right now is adding this driveway off of Oakhurst Street, right here.
That's a big fence over there with a lot of trees and stuff. Right?
That was a requirement,
No, yeah,
request from the
there's-
fire department.
There's no trees along here. There's
like 5 minutes ago.
There's like bushes, that's further down here along the existing propane tank. Charlie and I went out there.
Privacy fence there.
Yeah, there is a privacy fence, you're right. It's a privacy fence, but there's no like bushes along this specific area, and that's why we specifically talked about this area.
And that's in response to the...
Yeah, so there's no driveway over there now. There's no exit out
So there's a request for a driveway from public safety?
Yes, from
Okay.
myself, Charlie, and from
Yeah,
fire.
for public safety reasons, there's a request for
Yes.
access to the back of the building, which
Yep.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And in fact, I just want to say for the record...
And that's
people
actually
understand,
you'll see fire departments,
The only-
one of their comments was that.
In fact, the only interdepartmental comment we got, that was it, from fire. And the
Yeah.
one comment they said, and I even wrote it down, I know I wrote it down here somewhere. Yeah, they wrote, consider having fire department access from Oakhurst Street. Those are
Consider.
literally their words.
Consider was the word.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a conversation that we had with the applicant, Charlie and I, as well as with fire, and I spoke with Chief Johnson about this. Because of, if you go out to this site right here, there is a gate right here, but the cars are parked all along here and here, so it doesn't have the best access for...
It's like a car showroom.
Yeah, there's
It
not...
almost looks like lock storage in the back, like it was a tow yard and they used to lock the cars in for secure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is, but that's what it looks like. It's really-
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what's back there. I know there are some containers, right?
There's some containers, there's cars back there, and the owner of the property, he's got some equipment and stuff back there.
Yeah. And so, what we were talking to them is having access off of Oakhurst would make it much easier for the applicant to come in and out of the site, especially with all these cars are parked here. and we were thinking about access for how they would get their box truck in and out, also for public
ABS.
safety in the sense, yes, ABS, and also having fire department being able to get in there, and with how congested this area is, having this additional entrance here makes it much easier for the fire department to get in back here, and if they need to get into this area.
Did this get a butter notification?
Yes. All, and as of right now, since we don't have minor site plan review, every site plan review does have a butter notification.
That's my only concern. We're creating traffic on a street that had no traffic on it.
So,
Basically, you look at it, it works like a driveway to the
well, yeah, so there's a U-Haul back
Yeah,
here.
there's a U-Haul there.
There's a U-Haul back there, so,
These guys across the street are gonna it's gonna change a little bit for those
So-
neighbors across the street.
the only traffic that's gonna be coming in and out of there is, how many employees will you have there?
We're gonna have 2 employees working at that site.
Okay.
I have five parking stalls, and so our main facility is across the street from there, 600 feet away. We can hit it with our Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we know where it is, thanks.
Yeah.
So
So,
basically, it's deployees coming in and out, and anything else in terms of traffic?
So we're gonna have our box truck. We're not gonna receive any shipments there.
Right.
Our receiving department's across the street. Second shift will then move over any materials and bring it into the building for the guys on first shift.
Did we get this? It's on our website, but
Yep.
no hard copies.
yep, you have a hard copy right in there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, so David Ross did it?
Yeah. And there was an abutters letter that was sent to us from one of the residents in town who raised traffic as something to look at, and asked about potentially doing a traffic study for this project.
This project?
Yes, I do not feel this project meets that standard. There's only employees and the box truck. There's not going to be any customers coming in and out of there. They're not going to be they're not going to be drop off materials or anything. So I believe the impact of this use is very, very minor.
Would agree. Jeff?
If I may, Mr. Chair, I was approached by a resident here in town. Unfortunately, your facility across the street had an accident. Was it 2016, 2019?
2018.
2018, and
Yes.
I believe somebody was hurt in the accident.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is still fresh in the memory of some of the people in town. And the people in town are also sensitive to the uptick in just general traffic in town. And this area of the town has also seen some recent developments. So the person contacted me and said, I'm very concerned about the level of traffic over there. I'm just relaying this.
Yep.
I'm relaying this to the board because, different residents approach different people on the board. I just wanted to put that out there. That was a request I had,
So I guess if I could take that in 2 pieces?
Yep.
Whatever accident happened in 2018, if that's been resolved in the matter of public safety, that's not us. That doesn't affect the application in front of us today. So the second issue is traffic, but as described, 2 employees, then a box truck second shift, which sounds to me like that would be off major hours anyway.
Correct. I mean, it's not unlikely that it would go over there during the day as well, but we're talking 2 employees, and if they're not going to work there, they're coming across the street. So you're within 600 feet of where these people are going to be going to work regardless.
Is this, well, actually, I was still concerned. So you fabricate metal fabrication and stuff in ABS? I don't know what you
If you could tell us what you do.
So AVS, we manufacture capital equipment, mostly furnaces for processing different types of alloys, materials, ceramics.
Okay.
We've got about 73 to 74 employees right now. We ship all around the world. We've got stuff in China, France, South Korea, and lots of stuff in the United States. That's going to be a supplement for our manufacturing department, which is going to be what we call a hot zone. So that is the insulation that goes inside our furnace. So it's made out of graphite. It's like 1-inch foam graphite. It's an insulation material. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
It's cut just like you would wood. So we're going to have a table saw there. We're going to have a router, a dust collection system there as well.
And you call it a hot site?
A hot zone.
A hot zone. So hot in that you're working with materials, not that it's temperature hot.
It's not going to be hot. The materials are rated for 3,000 degrees Celsius.
Got it.
But we will not be heating that material up there. It goes inside our furnace. All of our testing takes place at 60 Fitchburg.
Well, thank you. I just got around hot shop out in Deerfield, and people get really scared about that whole, it's a welding fabrication company. So, yeah. And I can imagine that building raised to 3,000 Celsius, the building would glow. Sorry.
And
it's a small space.
And we don't plan on doing any welding over there or anything like that. So it's just going to be, like I said, it's going to be cutting graphite insulation materials, doing the assembly of the hot zones there, and then receiving and inspecting the materials. So the materials will be delivered at EVS. They'll be delivered over there. They'll receive a box with probably 200 parts in there. They're going to take each part out. They're going to inventory it, measure it, inspect it, close it back up in the box, and then it'll be shipped out.
Oh, so there's some that are being brought to you, being manufactured by somebody else?
Correct.
So you're doing palletization and inspections.
Yeah, it's of sub-assemblies that we're going to sell as aftermarket parts.
Got it, thank you.
Do the members of the board have any further questions or concerns? Yes, please, Ken, lay it out.
Okay, so just to point out to everybody, and I'm sure the applicant understands, this driveway we're talking about is a gravel driveway, it's not a paved driveway. I don't see that as being, a great asset to anything, but I guess it's okay. There's no ADA required. I believe it should have an ADA parking space. I would think of the 5, there's a requirement, but I'm not sure if that goes to us or the building department or who.
So I believe this did come up. There's like a building code as to, or the ADA, ABA, or I forget.
ADA.
Well,
Mass.
but ADA. So on the requirement of what the handicap is, I don't believe a handicap is required for this because there's no customers coming.
Okay, I'm concerned about that. I mean, as a company, would you want one of these to be ADA compliant?
So we're doing manufacturing over there, so we only have 2 employees that are going to be working over there, and we went through Charlie, I believe it was, and Charlie said it wasn't required for this. I mean, it is handicap accessible in the back, so I have 5 stalls. I don't have a problem putting a handicap sign on one of the stalls if we need to, but we won't be using it. And it wasn't a requirement from Charlie.
Yeah, when we had the meeting, when we had our meeting with Charlie, myself, and the engineers as well, we talked about that. That did come up, and I believe because of the fact that there is no retail, like no selling, no one's coming to site, it's not. I don't believe it's required.
I just think it's a prudent, good practice for any company to have an accessible space there. That's my own opinion. There's no need for traffic study. We talked about that, obviously. So, those are my only concerns.
Okay.
Oh, one other question. Do you need to pull this is not in our purview, but just of interest, do you need to pull a building permit to build a demising wall here? A rated wall between the 2 suites, or is it one there?
That's already been done.
It's done? Okay. Good.
Nathan?
Where is the loading and unloading door?
So there's a overhead door right next to the parking stalls right there.
Okay, right there. So the box truck will come in. You're going to use the Oakhurst and the new cut to come in.
Correct.
To the box truck.
We could use either one depending on which gate was open.
Okay.
Well, that's important now. So either way, either Oakhurst or Fitchburg Road.
Correct. And both gates are locked.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. My only comment on the traffic, this is not as pertinent to this application, is the NOAA application, right? That did or already has.
Oh, the 40B?
Yeah. that would, you know, if there's concerns about traffic in the region, would that have covered concerns?
So I don't know, so I wasn't part of that process with the comprehensive permit. I don't know if a traffic study was done. It was huge. I would assume that there was. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't
If there's
know
concerns,
what was.
just look up that project.
Yeah. So that, based on the proximity to this site, would address any of those issues.
Any further questions from the board?
Do we have to talk about waivers for this, like lighting and other things, and like we did in the last application? Do we need to go through all of that stuff?
Yeah, so that was something that,
Because you're considering it not a full site plan, but a minor?
so this is, we'll discuss the minor and major later, but this is something that I was actually thinking about today, that I think, and that's why we're going to leave this open until the next meeting, because I believe that we will have to do waiver requests, just like we did with all the other projects. It's like 33 3rd Street, all those, the ones that typically wouldn't be a major site plan review. But we have to do the process, so.
So I understand, excuse me just a second, so what you're going to do is with your decision, with the findings and recommendations, you'll include the list of applicable waivers, okay.
And I'll reach out to Kevin on this. It's just kind of like a written request, kind of like you just saw in the last one.
Sure.
I'll give him the list of all the ones that need waiver requests so that he can just provide it to me. And that way, when we come at the next meeting, within the decision, they're already, written out and everything is set, and it's just, they can vote at it at the next meeting.
Good. Great. Anything else?
I'm going to ask one question. I believe this is a request for a change in use. Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you just do a quick explanation on that for the people in the world who don't understand?
Yes. So under our site plan review, there are, actually, at our last meeting, I gave an explanation on this, actually.
I skipped that meeting.
No. So there are several triggers under our site plan review, and one of the triggers for site plan review, the first one is a change of use. So in this situation, the use is currently vacant. So the change is going to be to light industrial. Due to that fact, it gets brought into site plan review.
And if I may, to expand on that, light industrial is allowed by right in this process.
zone.
Yes, that is correct.
So they don't have to go to zoning board of appeals for a change. It can get confusing, and I want to make sure it's laid out.
Yes,
Thank
there's
you.
no special permits that are required. This is a by right use.
Thank you.
I'd like to open up for public comment or questions? No? Okay. So I think we need a continuance to the next.
Move to continue to the July 9th meeting, 77 Fitchburg Road, map 11, parcel 16, application site plan review. Applicant AVS Incorporated.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you, sir.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you at the next meeting.
To be clear, at the next meeting, a decision will be made?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the
perfect.
plan.
Yeah, and I'll get the decision over to you and to Kevin so that you guys can look at it ahead
Okay,
of time.
thanks, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So we are up to project status update and committee reappointments.
Yes.
Anything notable on the updates?
Yes, project status updates. So, last week, Matt and myself met out at Ayer Solar 2 with Rohit to go through some of the outstanding issues. We had a Zoom call about 2 weeks ago with town departments that are involved with the project, and Rohit, GPR, and their counsel, Attorney Costa. We went through the open items that were that came from our original site walk that we did in, I believe, February or March. I believe maybe it was March. Out of that conversation, we came up with a list of 9 items that needed to be addressed at our site visit with Matt, myself, and Rohit last week. We discussed what needed to be addressed, which was the main things. When you go out there, it's now pretty much fully grown in.
When we were first out there, there was an issue about whether or not the site, where the solar panels was actually actually growing in. I had some concerns, but after my site visit with them, it had really grown in over that couple of months. There were some areas that were bare still that I asked him to touch up, so he did address those. They did loam and seed those. They addressed some of the swales that were around the site that led into basins where there was some sediment erosion. They lined those with stone, with crushed stone.
Okay.
We did come to the conclusion after just GPR and Matt going back and forth on calculations for the stormwater, that bigger basin.
Yeah.
So they have enough capacity to deal with the storms. It is not draining down within the 72 hours, but based on the options, there's really not much to do about it to address that. So Matt,
on ledge, right?
Yeah, it's on ledge. So Matt feels, based on what's out there, based on the structures, it should be fine for the site to function properly, the system at least. They did address, there was some other, one of the pipes was pitching backwards. That was addressed. They did also, when we were out there, we did talk about the culvert and where the stream crossing, the new stream crossing culvert was out there. They did add some additional bigger stones to kind of slow it down and break it up at the culvert. That is kind of outside of our purview. It was something that Matt and I suggested to Rohit to kind of help, but that is in conservation's purview. They'll deal with that with their order conditions.
They won't contact me. This is the first I've heard about any of this.
Okay, so yeah, this is something that we gave him a bunch of suggestions. He just emailed it today to me with showing me what they did, which was add some bigger boulders to kind of try to slow down that stream so that it's not picking up so much speed and just going straight down. Matt and I, we hope that's going to address the issue, but Heather's going to be the one who ends up dealing with it when they come back for their COC. And then other than that, everything else, so on our list was addressed. I told Rohit, I think we're at the point where I feel comfortable with signing off. But I wanted to see if the board wanted to go out there. I know part of our process typically is to have a site walk at the end of the project. And just, to make sure, so that you guys can see the final project. But I'm opening that up to the board to see what you guys want to do.
I have to recuse myself because of the discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yes, sorry about that. I totally forgot about that.
I'm going to lay it on the table. I am so fatigued by this project that I am going to move that we allow our professionals to take care of this and they get this thing plugged in and turned on. Because otherwise we're going to have a white elephant on our hands. I'm sorry to say it like that, but
I think I've been out there at least
They've done a great
3 or 4
job.
times. What you described is sufficient for me. What you do, there's nothing more for me to see that you haven't just said, because we went out there just a few weeks ago. It wasn't maybe 2 months ago at most. I'm open-minded. If my colleagues feel that we should make another visit, I'm open to it. But my feeling is it isn't necessary at this point. Nathan, Julie.
I agree.
Do you need us there? That's
so
fine.
he's got that's
Well,
a
I
thing.
think it's a fair question.
I
It's
just
just
like
like you
to-
want.
Right, it's like, do you-
That's fair. We
yeah.
want your honesty,
I mean,
but I got your back. If for some reason that's helpful, I don't know
I
why
just
it
wanted
would
to
be.
make sure that the board felt like.
And I know
It
for a
would be-
fact that
It's there.
conservation is living in Rohit's left pants pocket.
Yes.
And I know Danny and Matt have been working
That's
in his
the
right
thing.
pants pocket.
I get
And let's get this thing to the goal line.
I would say leave it to the pros. The way you said it, perfect. That's it.
And Heather, I'll
agree.
send you that letter. I just got it today, so it was like.
Yeah, so I'm still waiting for the CR to.
Yeah, you see, I know.
And that's not a matter that needs a vote, right?
No.
It's just informal.
It's just informal. It's just
Amendment.
yeah.
Yeah, bring Ken back, please. Any other projects?
Other than that, there's really not much else 42 Park Street obviously is moving along very
Yeah,
slowly.
you see that? Yeah, but it is moving.
It's moving.
Oh, it's huge, the change to 42 Park Street. And the change in the building next door to it is also huge. Just the repaint and the cleanup and everything, it's been big.
Yeah, there's been talks about what they may be doing there. But
May I?
yeah.
The company that is currently occupying the downstairs of that building does property cleanouts. And they use it for storage of things they clean out of properties and stuff that doesn't get moved through to somewhere else. They actually have it like it's not a vintage shop yet, but the perception might be that they'll be coming to the town to open up stalls that people can rent to sell stuff.
Yeah.
It's a big industry. So that's what I've heard is in motion for that.
Yeah.
I won't get you in trouble by asking you what's going to happen. That's what I've heard.
Okay. Good. Anything else, Danny?
Let me see. Well, Panther Place is moving along pretty well as too. If you go out there, I think they're getting close to that point where they can start working on the rest of the because they finished most of that Bragg Circle, I think it's called. Is it Bragg? Briggs. So they're almost, at the point where they're done with that, and they can start finishing the rest of the project. The Shaker Mill Pond.
It's a neighborhood now.
Yes. Yeah.
What's up with that?
So, Heather and I went out there. When was it?
That was.
Well, not last Friday. The Friday before.
No,
that.
it wasn't a Friday.
It wasn't even a Friday. It was a Thursday. So about 2 weeks, a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
We went out there, met with
Wednesday.
That's right. Yes, it was a really hot day. It was one of those really hot days. We met with a couple of the residents that live. It's the first 4 lots. They put in some signs, the conservation restriction signs, and there was some complaints on the size of them, where they were, all that kind of stuff. And there's some mowing that's occurring back there, which is, part of the conservation restriction area.
Residents are mowing the area.
Yes.
Which
Part of the open space.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's part of the open space. So it's something that we're currently in the trying to work and deal with to try to figure out what our best options on how to deal with that. They were not, I guess, told about that open space area and not being allowed to mow it when they bought the houses. So we're trying to find what's the best, balance of both to make sure that everyone is at least getting that it's being addressed in a way that I understand both
correct.
sides. Yes, yes. I'm trying to
Could you
play
do
the
me a
best.
favor could you do me a favor when you go out there and ask them if they were trained on the E1 systems?
See, I was just going to go there. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That was it.
So there's a pattern here that as developments become more sophisticated and there's more moving parts because of regulations and technologies. Think about this. So conservation restriction, wetland buffers, E1 units, all these things are things on a deed that a landowner, a property buyer wouldn't necessarily know. I wouldn't know buying a home about any of this. All this would be new to me. And I just feel that there's a gap between our decision here and then what information is communicated to the buyers about what the responsibilities and limitations are in the future. And that gap isn't being addressed. And I'm wondering, I think we have to the town has to come up with some kind of solution to this.
And so, how do I don't want to trample on anybody, and I don't like
that's fair
speaking
enough.
ill of other people. I think the ball was dropped on certain stages of the project.
Okay.
When certain things were signed off on, there were items that were not installed and things were not done properly that should have been there should have been oversight on them, and there was not. So going into the future, the more detailed decisions that we've been working on and writing for these projects will help prevent any of the ball dropping, at certain stages of the project.
I think it's, I don't
if I
agree,
may.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with that.
So,
I don't think the ball was.
Come with this next time then.
so
I think the problem is a minor problem of people understanding where their conservation land begins on their property.
yes.
Sounds like that to me.
There's that, and there's also the fact that, like the residents said, when the building permits and everything was signed off for final occupancy, why were the signs not already up as they should have been? Why were we not told that open space was back there? There's oversight. I understand what you're saying, but I believe that in my position, had I been there, a lot of these things would not have.
May I make a suggestion? I don't want this to devolve into a blame, point finger.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to.
The only thing I don't want to go back in the past.
Yeah.
Something's happened. My point is that we've seen this issue come up multiple times in the last few years, and I just think that collectively we have to be thinking forward about how do we prevent these confusions or what have you from happening. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm going to step in. I did a 230 unit property in Methuen. I did 171 unit property in Acton. For different developers, every single purchaser signed a piece of paper saying that they were told. We recorded each one of these pieces of paper.
Yeah, that's what
and
it is.
every single time as a management company, I would go to them and say, do you realize X, Y, Z? They'd say, nobody told us.
Exactly.
At which point I would present them with the piece of paper that they signed.
Signing a lot of things when they
And
go
now,
close.
so what you're gonna end up with is, well, gee, I didn't know, is a convenience way of, they're gonna leave. Nobody wants enforcement in what they perceive to be their property, and that is truly the issue.
Yeah.
We don't have an association over there, it's no homeowners association.
No, correct.
So, we're always going to have this.
Yeah.
And when I got to town 10 years ago, and we talked about this last night in the stormwater, we had all these detention retention bases with operations plans. Nobody was doing it.
Of course.
So our DPW put the foot down and says, we're going to do it and charge them. And that's just the way it's going to be. And that's how we solve that problem. We can't do this in this
No, I
situation.
get that.
But we're going to have these fits and starts.
So
We're
there's
gonna
a
have the same thing
possibility
behind
that they
Panther
did in
Books.
fact get it, they did in fact sign it, but they just
there's
weren't
so much
aware of it,
going on
because
when you
there's so
buy a
many things
house.
happening. Plus, they're eager to buy the house.
I did a closing today.
Okay, wait, can we just, it's already
Hold on.
8 o'clock.
We're gonna go
Can we
that
just,
side.
this
So
else needs to
I
get
can
done
help you
for
with this if you
tonight?
want offline.
Okay.
Nathan, I don't want to shut off Nathan. No, did you have a
We
comment?
covered this when we did 33 and a Third Street last week. It's in the deed. So legally, it's covered.
Okay, good.
And we're not enforcing
That brings us to committee reappointments.
Yes.
Can everyone look at the sheet that,
Yeah.
So I gave everybody
prepared
kind of
for
a chart, just, these were all the appointment positions that came out of the planning board. I know everyone is on a lot of different boards. You're not necessarily there appointed through the planning board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are only for the positions that were appointed through planning board. On Julie's, so your CPC.
Yes.
You were supposed to be reappointed last year.
So I'm done?
No, you're still, you're still on it.
Yo, I appoint Ken because his name is not on the sheet.
So this is where I think we can discuss if you want reappointment.
that's the whole point.
Yeah, this is, do you want reappointment?
Yes.
And if
Sure
you
about
do
that?
want, so on the CP, specifically on the
Shannon's really
CPC.
mean, I don't know.
So specifically on the CPC, this one would not be like a normal 3-year, it would, because
That's
it
fine.
should have happened last year. It would just go through 2026, so technically it's 2 years.
Thank you.
But
You're okay with
It would be an
served.
honor to serve you guys.
And obviously, I have no problem with in fact, I don't know how long the stormwater utility fund group is going to, but yes, whatever the length of that is, I have no issue with staying with that, obviously. How about the Devon's resolution? That's Julie and Jeff. You guys were
On board.
I'm especially concerned, Jeff, you're on 3 of these things here.
So let's talk about that,
Yes,
if you don't mind.
I do want to talk about
Devon's
it.
resolution is 1 day a month. It's during the day, typically in late afternoon.
Is that okay?
It's perfectly fine. Just the level.
Yeah.
The Affordable Housing Trust. I would like to stay on that because we're still working on Ayer Commons. And quite honestly, Alicia carries most of the load on that. I run meetings at this point and write letters. MRPC is, again, 1 day a month, and that's going to start heating up probably in about a year, but I'm just getting my stride in there.
Do you want to stay with that?
I'd like to stay with that if possible, unless somebody else wants to jump in. What I was going to ask you though, Mr. Chair, is,
Yes, sir.
and I know Kathleen is involved in many things in other groups here in town too, but I don't want, how do I say this? Don't feel excluded from any of this if you want to join. Is what I would ask
I
that
can't
we.
commit to anything.
No, but
without
I would ask
knowing
that.
when the meeting.
Yeah, I would ask that we would, just make sure that that's always an opportunity.
Okay. And Nathan, you okay with the Affordable Housing Working Group?
Yes.
Ken, is there anything on here, or is there anything that I need to add in terms of you? Because you're on a lot of different boards, and is there anything here that you're appointed through the planning board?
I don't believe so. I think I'm on the senior center
The
site selection and construction committee, but that comes from the select board, I believe.
Yes.
I don't think it comes from the planning board.
So what action do we need here?
So we're gonna have to vote on each of these.
Can I move that we reappoint, given the sheet?
Yeah,
Can you do the whole sheet?
the slate.
I just made that motion.
Yeah, let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
Let's do it.
It's just,
Keep them all the same, right?
Yes, but each of them.
Reappoint us. We're all reappointed.
Yeah. I'm just gonna use this as a reference.
Yeah.
Send her the document. She'll copy and paste it.
and you seconded?
I seconded it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Yes.
And I say aye. Terrific. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate all that
Yeah,
work.
and so going forward, I'm just gonna keep using this kind of as a template, so that we know when each of the terms expire, what needs to be reappointed, so that way I can keep track.
Yep.
The point of procedure, does that need to be given to the select board? No.
No.
These appointments are
Yeah,
outside
these
the
are,
purview.
these are outside of the.
Just want to make sure, because they do that. Yep, good.
June 11 minutes.
And we have the June 11 minutes. I move that we approve the June 11 minutes as with the edits I suggested as sent to all the members ahead of the meeting.
Second. Oh,
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
yes,
Julie?
she wasn't there.
Oh, yes, that's okay. Nathan?
Aye.
Still voted.
Jeff?
I will abstain.
Yeah, that's
Of course, thank you, I forgot. And, aye, I say aye.
Technically, I don't have to abstain, but we do that traditional set of tradition.
Oh, look at this. I'm so impressed. And just the sign here, you'll put the date.
Yeah.
Can we move to adjourn?
Move to adjourn. Good night, everybody. Thank you.